From freaky children that will scare the hell out of you with their piercing black eyes, to creepy shadow figures that you can see in the corner of your bedroom, we take a look at 10 freaky urban legends that could be real. Number 10. Slit-Mouthed Woman. This urban legend comes from Japan and China, known as Kuchisake Onna, or her nickname, the Slit-Mouthed Woman. One day, she cheated on her spouse with a more youthful and better-looking man. At the point when the husband returned, he found her treachery. Enraged and upset, he took his sword and cut her mouth ear to ear. Number 9. The Human Fat Vampires. The human fat vampire legend has a 400-year-old history in Peru. Amid this time, local people talked about vampires who chased down and fed on the fat tourists and abandoned the bodies drained of all their fat. The legend may have been genuine the whole time. Aside from the vampires, are actually traffickers who hack individuals up and sell their fat on the black market. Number 8. Headless Horseman. This European urban legend has distinctive emphasis depending upon where you go. The horseman would quit riding his steed when death showed up and would call out a name who would promptly die. In German folklore, the headless horseman shows up while a lady is in the forest picking oak seeds and she hears a hunting horn. She hears it again, and out comes a headless man in a long dark coat riding on a stallion. Number 7. The Collector. The legend of the Collector is that he gathers human body parts and presents them in jars. In Russia, it played out in real life. The new mascot of this legend is local Russian historian Anatoly Moskvin, who stole a considerable amount of bodies in many towns east of Moscow. As indicated by the police, he uncovered no less than 29 corpses and made dolls out of them. Number 6. The White Death. This is a tale of a young lady from Scotland who detested life and needed to get rid of every trace of herself. She committed suicide when her family discovered. They all died in the next days, having their limbs ripped off. The legends say that the young lady's phantom may come and find you and thump over and over on your door. Every thump gets louder till you open the door and she slaughters you for fear that you'll tell another person of her existence. Number 5. The Flatwoods Monster. The Flatwoods Monster was professedly inexperienced with an extraterrestrial being close to the town of Flatwoods, West Virginia. In 1952, a few inhabitants reported seeing a UFO crash in the mountains close to the town. They went out to investigate and discovered a 7-foot-tall glowing creature. After seeing the people, this creature hissed shrilly and charged at them before veering off towards the destruction. The individuals who interacted with the creature and took in the fumes from the accident site turned out to get sick over the next few days. Number 4. The Hook. This legend tells the account of a young man and young lady who drive off into the woods and hear on the radio that a sentenced murderer with a hook for one of his hands recently escaped from a mental hospital. The man essentially locks the car door and insists they stay, but the girl wants to leave. The man then reluctantly takes off, and when they return home, a bloody hook is hanging on the outside handle of the car door. Number 3. Black-Eyed Children. The Black-Eyed Children legend stories have a solitary beginning point. A creepy experience reported by writer Brian Bethel on January 16, 1998. Brian claims he was approached in his car by 2 youngsters whose eyes were all black. These youngsters demanded Brian let them into his car, claiming they required a ride to a phone. Brian claimed he was overcome with an inclination of sheer fear. The more fearful he became, the more insistent the kids became that he let them in. Number 2. The Vanishing Hitchhiker. Potentially one of the oldest urban legends as still being told, this story recounts a driver who grabs a female hitchhiker on a desolate stretch of road. He then drives her home only to find that she has vanished from the back seat. In the wake of knocking on her door, he is told the young lady passed on in a car crash years prior in the same spot that he picked her up. Number 1. The Shadow in the Corner. The Shadow People lineage or urban legend encompasses an entire universe of creepy folklore revolving around obscure visions or shadows of people that appear and disappear quickly. For years, thousands of people have sworn to waking up in the middle of the night to a shadowy figure bearing down on them or staring from across the room. At least in one case, this turned out to be true. In Fukuoka, Japan, a man who lived alone in his apartment began to suspect that something else was present there with him, moving things around and stealing food. He decided to set up surveillance cameras and, sure enough, he captured footage of an old woman slithering out of his cupboard.